Back as we continue with JMU men's basketball coach Matt Brady with our fan and press luncheons here at O'Neill's Grill on University Boulevard. The Dukes coming in after last week splitting their two games, both of them at home, that is, falling to Elon on Thursday night, 79-73, and to the Towson Tigers, 73-59. And Coach Brady, just your comments on this past week as the Dukes played, and maybe where you are this week compared to where last Monday at this time.
Well, it's kind of a similar week, I guess, right? We're 1-1 on the week. The Elon game, I thought we played I don't think we've played very many halves where we haven't played with a lot of energy. We've had halves where we haven't played well. The Elon game in the second half, I thought we played maybe our poorest 10 minutes of the season, and it cost us an opportunity to win the game. Obviously, the game changed. Went on with a really small lineup, put Devontae in and pressed, and we got some steals and some layups, but it was too big of a deficit to overcome. And then I think our kids understood the lesson that we learned from the Elon loss. I thought our energy was really solid. It was good. I think our guys paid particular attention to the game plan, and I thought we had a convincing win at home against a very talented, tough, physical Towson team.
I spoke to you after the game, and I thought it was one of the best responses to a physical team against the Dukes. Towson comes in even before the game was played. We knew it was going to be a physical contest. And where do you rank that in terms of matching that physicality to other teams that you've had here at JMU? Does one come to mind?
Well, probably other Towson games. You know, we've played them in some close games. Even a couple of years ago when we played them in the tournament, I think they were the 1 or the 2 seed, and we played them, and the game was close throughout. I mean, they shot, I think, 58 or 60 free throws, and we shot considerably fewer, and we ended up losing a conference tournament game. But that was a tremendously physical game that I think every time you play Towson, you're going to have to be really ready. You know, it's interesting. We told our kids in preparation for Towson this was going to be the most physical game outside of West Virginia. West Virginia is remarkably physical. They pick you up full court. They bump you on every catch. They really throw the ball hard into the lane. They attack you, and they send 4 guys to the offensive glass. West Virginia does. So we had something, to reference, and I think that helped us as well.
The player that really jumped out to me with the physical play was aggressive style of play was how Jackson Kent came out in the second half. Usually Jackson, if he's going to be aggressive, not even to that degree, but if he's going to be aggressive, it usually is early. This was a game adjustment for him to come out with that type of, right, fierce attack it was.
No, it was good to see. Jackson went and got an offensive rebound. I haven't seen a lot of those, but to do it against Towson, I thought that was significant, and I think he was a little bit angry, And again, not unlike Towson a year ago when I took him out, I put him on the bench for the whole second half and played Winston right after that game. Jackson had his best practices of the year because he didn't like being on the bench, and Jackson was on the bench for a little bit in the first half, and I think he was going to show me or show us or help his team, and that's really what he did in the second half. I thought he was really eager to help his team, and against Towson, they guard the three-point line. They guard you well. They're a really good defensive team. Jackson went and made some plays, and one of them was off the glass. That was a big play.
An interesting 20 seconds off the bench for Devontae Morgan in the Elon game, and then you did play him for a few moments there on Saturday as well. His play the last 2 games, does that change your thinking on where he will play, what minutes he will get, how he'll be used?
Yeah, there's going to be opportunity for Devontae, and every game I look for opportunities for him. But if he's playing, that means that Joey McClain, who's now shooting almost 40% from the three-point line, is not. Or it means that Jackson, who's a 12 points a game guy from a season ago, is not. Or it means that Winston Grays is not. The one area that Devontae continues to work on, much to his credit, and I think he's going to make a jump, but he hasn't done it significantly, is perimeter shooting. He's not a guy that is a very proficient shooter. But I think you saw in the Elon game, he can help change the tempo of a game. And there's going to be games, I can tell you, that he's going to get in games and he's going to help us win games. And right now he's holding up his end of the bargain. He's been a terrific teammate. He's dealing with his role in a very positive way. And he's got to be – it's a difficult thing, but we're not going to play 13 guys, and the rotation that we have right now is where I am with it.
And where does, in that rotation, we've seen a lot of playing time for Winston the last, well, actually since conference play has began. Continue to see him playing the number of minutes that he is in league play?
Yeah, I think so. And again, it's not as if he's won the position. It's not as if Jackson has been a dominant two-guard. Jackson hasn't played as well as he did a year ago, and that's a somewhat frightening thing for me here as a coach. To be honest with you, is we have some guys that aren't playing as well as they were as sophomores, and we need to get them moving in the right direction. And as coaches, to be honest with you, I think if everybody had played all season long as well as they had offensively a year ago, our record would be different. There's no doubt about it. And it would be a tremendous record. But we have some guys that have struggled a little bit. And, I'm really hoping that these guys bounce back. And until they do, like, the University of Virginia, I'm going to keep playing with the rotation until guys step up and kind of grab it. And seize the opportunity and not let go of it. That hasn't happened very often other than Ron Kerry.
Dimitri Chabakova was very efficient in his game on Saturday, and it was also a crowd pleaser. Those couple of hook shots are really difficult to defend. I saw people standing up and cheering him on after those plays. It's been fun to watch him in his development. He's averaging 19 minutes a game in conference play. When you signed him, what did you anticipate in his development? How many minutes? What kind of points? What kind of rebounds?
It's interesting because now I look like a dunce. I should have been playing him longer or earlier, right? But the truth of the matter is he wasn't really ready last year. And there are times in games you look out there and you're wondering, well, why in goodness name is he doing that? Why is he? So he's very kind of puzzling, and it is kind of a basketball IQ thing and acumen. But I can tell you, we're thrilled with where he is as a player. He's helped us almost every game. He's helped us give us a chance to win. Very often he's helped us win. And if he's 0 for 4 in that game the other night, who knows if we win that game. So his efficiency is high level on the offensive end. And I've remarked here time and again that he is hard to play with Yohani. There's going to be maybe a few other times this year, but it is very difficult to play those guys together. But it wouldn't be something if Yohani gets back to his level from a year ago, and now you have an all-league center, no matter which one you have in the game. And I do think it's a two-headed monster. We have our fingers crossed for Yohani, and I think he's going to get there, and hopefully it starts on Thursday.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Of course, it's only the one game that he at least slightly came out of his little bit of a funk. He did end up with 8 rebounds, but your thoughts on his game on Saturday and where he may be coming back now?
Well, I thought he was really good, to be honest with you. I thought that he established the fact that he was going to rebound the basketball, and he's, when he puts his body on somebody and then goes in the air and gets the ball, he's a good rebounder. The issue for him is learning how to box out and go get the ball. Typically, since he's been here, he just wants to go get the ball, and they become 50-50 balls in this league because he's not bigger or stronger necessarily than the guy he's matched up against. So we don't want him to be shoulder to shoulder. We want him to have inside position. The other night he got inside position. He was physical, and then he went and got the ball. So clearly there are signs of Yohani from a year ago, and excited to have that game. I thought he was really good, and he would have played more had he not gotten in foul trouble.
All right, let's turn it over to other members of the media here at O'Neill's Grill.
Coach, we've talked week in, week out about this league, the competitiveness, the parity. Is there anything after 2 weekends of play that has surprised you at all about this league?
Well, I don't think there's a bottom to this league. That's what I would say. I try to tell our team that Elon's preseason 10, but they're not 10. It's a really good basketball team, and they play really well together, and they were hungry against us. We swept them last year. It seemed like they played with a chip on their shoulder, and we didn't. And now what I'm going to tell our group is we need to play with a chip on our shoulder every single night. But beyond that, and the fact that Drexel's going through some struggles, I don't think there's anything that I'm surprised. This is a really good league, and to have the record that the CA had at Christmas time or New Year's Eve day was foreboding. Like that was going to be, we were going to be in a battle all the way through this thing.
And with Shakir Brown, it's almost like we're not really sure when game time comes which one we're going to get. Are we going to get the guy who's going to be consistent, so
I'd gladly switch places with you on game day because I have no idea what we're
How
going to see.
frustrating is that for you as a coach? And what's the hurdle that he has to overcome to be that consistent guy?
So, Kurt used the word efficient with Dimitri. I thought he was efficient the other night. He's not always – he's a volume guy, and he probably always has been. What we've seen for the first month of the season is a guy that's very explosive scoring the ball. And now I think you saw a little bit of doubt in his mind the other night. He turned down a couple of shots that a month before he would not have turned them down. But to his credit and to our team's benefit, we shot a season low in threes. We still shot 40%. We did get side to side much more. We got into the lane a little bit more. So we had poise and patience, and we turned down some shots, and we got better shots, and we shot well. And, we're going to need him to be aggressive. And every time he's open, we want him to shoot the basketball. And I don't know. I'm hopeful that we have 2 road games. He's been better on the road than he's been at home. And maybe he'll be great this weekend. Certainly he's got it within him. I think he's a gifted scorer, but his numbers aren't great right now. And they're certainly taking a kind of a spiral since the first month of the year.
Talking about some of the struggles Johanni's having, Jackson's having, do you talk to your guys coming off the bench, being what your rotation is, about we need you to give us what your average is at least? Because a couple of times, had you gotten those, you would have probably won games.
Well, we'd be 15-2. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. If one of the 4 guys that we start had gotten close to their, what they could do, I think we'd be 15-2. But can't cry about it, and we're going to move on. I mean, I'd love to be 15-2 in the first place right now, but guys haven't, and they're trying hard and they're practicing hard. Johanni's going through a thing, and Shakir has struggled at home, and conversely, the 3 losses that we probably could have without a blink are at home, and Shakir hasn't played well in any of those games. So, and neither is Johanni, but neither is Jackson. So, I don't really talk about, hey, we need this, we need points from you, because I don't want guys thinking they've got to score or shoot in order for our team to be successful. What I think is going to happen at some point is it'll all come together, and if it comes together, we're pretty darn good. It hasn't come together, and we're not far away.
March is still coming.
We'd like it to all come together in March. I think we all would.
You talked about Winston playing better coming off the bench, allowing the game to develop. During that time when he's watching the first few minutes of a game, what's your staff? Are they spending time with him, knowing he's going to be one of the first guys coming in, or is he doing that on his own?
No, you know what? We spend a lot of time talking to our guys individually, and here in 40 minutes we'll talk to them again about here's what we expect, here's what you're going to see. And, in some games, and particularly with Northeastern, how they're going to guard us, we're not really sure because they've shown, like us, a couple different ways to guard some different actions. So we don't really know what we're going to see. By the time we throw the ball in the air, the work's been done. We really do turn the game over to the guys, and we make a lot of in-game adjustments a little differently than a lot of other teams. We don't guard everything the same way every game because I think it's helped us. I think we would have lost the East Carolina game and this last game if we guarded everything the same way. We would have given up too many angles and driving lanes. So I think it's important for our guys to know that we change game to game some defensive concepts because it helps us gain an advantage because we're not the most gifted team. But I think when we throw the ball up there, our guys know it's poise. I say this all the time. It's poise and patience on offense, great shot selection, play unselfish, and we're seeing a little bit more of it. And I think what I learned from the last few home games is we've got to have a chip on our shoulder every game, and I've got to drive that home with our guys. That's really on me. I thought I did a good job with that against Charleston. I don't think we played particularly well. I thought that I got our guys ready for Elon. We weren't ready. I thought I did a really good job getting our guys ready, and they weren't. So I'm gonna spend more time getting our guys emotionally invested every day in every game.
Is that challenge amplified with having to play those teams 3 days?
Well, we did it last year. And we got a split. I think anybody that does these 2 kind of games, you think, hey, if you get a split, that's great. But we're going to approach the first one like this is the only one we care about. We need to try and win the Northeastern game. We've been in some close games. We went up there 3 years ago. So I fully expect us to have a chance to win the game late. And the fact of the matter is we've had a chance to win most. But, again, if our guys continue to get better and play together, we'll have a chance to win on Thursday, and then we flip the page.
I think when this Saturday schedule came out for the CAA, you said you thought it was fair. That doesn't necessarily mean you liked it, though.
That's true. Yeah. It is fair because everybody's got to deal with it, but I don't like it, and I would say to you the coaches don't really like it, and not sure that the intended consequence is going to be achieved. But that's above my level, so I didn't make this decision, and I'm fine with it because it is equitable, and that's all you care about when administrations make decisions. Is it fair and is it equitable? If it's fair and equitable, then you live with it. That's life.
Well, you talk about, it being equitable. Pat, Towson coach, really was very upset with the schedule since his team's on the road, I think 7 of 9 weekends, and nobody else has more than 4. I mean, in that case, do you feel for a guy like that?
No. My quick answer is hell no, I don't. I really don't. Because he hasn't lost a guy to an injury since he's been there, right? So I feel bad about injuries when guys have them, but that doesn't go around either. You know what I mean? So that's the luck of the draw. That's the computer spitting it out. And next year it's going to be me. As long as I don't have injuries, I'm okay with everything else that's on the board. Just don't hand me an injury because I think everything else we can deal with. And as coaches, that's the way it is. I mean, it wasn't a genius sitting down to do the schedule. It's a computer in Denver, Colorado. And so, you know what, you can go fight with the computer. And he can go send one of his forwards to beat the hell out of the computer, but it ain't working.
If you could do something besides Thursday, Saturday, if this was in your hands, what would be ideal?
I don't know. To me, it's a non-story. I appreciate the question. I think it's relevant. I think it's a non-factor. We all have to deal with Thursdays, Saturdays. We're in a little bit better situation because we're in the middle of Virginia. It's not quite as hard to get to. But by the way, Pat is about 15 minutes from a damn airport, so I don't really know what the problem is with that. We're 2 hours away from an airport.
All right, the Dukes on the road this week. They'll face Northeastern on Thursday night. That's a 7 o'clock tip-off. They're at the wonderful Matthews Arena, one of the oldest facilities in the country. It certainly does have its character. And then on Saturday, the Dukes at Hempstead, New York, to face the pride of Hofstra University. Next home game is January 21st against the Drexel Dragons. Thank you for coming out this week, and we'll be back next Monday with JMU men's basketball coach Matt Brady.